Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Has a Demonic Heritage. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to shower some appreciation onto the incredible author responsible for this fanfiction. The link is conveniently waiting for you in the description down below. Before we get into it though, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. And also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Ceiling 998, 999, 1000. Now I want 50 more for half-assing that set. The one-eyed Jounin shouted with his orange book nowhere to be seen. He had put them through enough to kill some genin, and yet they were still training. The two boys groaned but stayed in position. They both balanced on the razor-sharp point of a kunai with their pointer finger, while in handstand position about 20 feet from each other. A slight lapse of concentration and that finger would be gone. They began their 50 using that finger to perform push-ups, having to constantly adjust the flow of chakra to allow proper movement. That was only part of the grueling exercise. Switch! Kakashi shouted suddenly. The boys instantly pushed off and switched hands and resumed the 50. This was the other part. Kakashi would randomly tell them to switch hands to keep them aware. They had done this on each finger already. Added to the thousands of push-ups, sit-ups, juggernauts, laps around Konoha, various other chakra exercises, and sparring with each other, and you would very quickly come to the conclusion that the two were severely low on chakra and their bodies must nearly be to the point of giving out on them. The only thing keeping them going was their pride. When the 50 were done, the two remained motionless. Kakashi let them stay there for a while. Enough, he said. The two boys let themselves fall and hit the ground in a rather undignified heap. Their chest heaved for breath, every muscle burned, and sweat poured off of them while they fought off the stars in their vision. An object hit the ground next to each of them with a loud clatter. An ANBU training katana is next to both of you. You two will spar once more. Feel free to use any attack you can muster. Kakashi had showed both the basic sword fighting used in ANBU along with his own family's basics. The two soaked it up like sponges. Naruto mixed it into his style, combining it with what he already learned from Gekka, while Sasuke memorized each and every move exactly, preparing himself should he ever have to use or defend against the sword. The two boys stood up shakily while grabbing the katana next to them. Their legs trembled, struggling to hold them up. Naruto held his sword in a reverse grip in his human hand. Since he was crouching, it rested slightly above the ground. Sasuke held his normally in front of him with both hands on the hilt. He stood straight and proud as opposed to Naruto's crouched stance. The two charged at each other with everything they had left. As the blades traveled, they left a trail of chakra in their wake. Naruto's blade glowed a gentle blue before taking in the water and air surrounding it, turning into a swirling maelstrom. Sasuke's sword turned a violent yellow before flames, and its cold-blooded brother lightning crackled around the sword, making it a storm of fire. They shouldn't have enough chakra left to bring out that kind of reaction. At most, Sasuke's sword should have only made sparks, while Naruto's would have produced a small wind blade. The swords Kakashi gave them were made from a cheap metal that taught ninja to harness elemental chakra. The only downside were that the metal itself was extremely weak, making it useless in actual combat. It would break easily under heavy force. It took a gifted blacksmith to forge useful blades from this metal. One would have to balance the metals to where the blade could channel chakra and still be deadly efficient in close combat. Some used one's own chakra nature, increasing the weapon's power, such as the blades used by Kiri's 7 swordsmen of mist. Some blades were infused with a certain element no matter who wielded it, like the lost sword of the thunder spirit used by the second Hokage. Both types were rare and extremely powerful in the right hands. The distance between Naruto and Sasuke closed rapidly. Naruto's maelstrom dragged along the ground, tearing up the earth underneath it. Sasuke's storm of fire cut through the air beside him. Naruto pivoted on one foot, giving himself a spin, attacking with a downward vertical slash while Sasuke went with a horizontal swing. The blades met in an explosion of nature chakra. Electrically charged water and huge bursts of flames jumped from the locked swords. Both boys pushed with all their strength, trying to overcome the other. The swords suddenly shattered under the stress, unable to handle the clash. The boys fell to their knees in front of each other. Blood-red slitted eyes met red eyes, with two tomos spinning wildly, both refusing to lose to the other out of sheer willpower. "You had enough yet, Team/Dobe?" they asked simultaneously. "You," they said. Sasuke's fist flew to be caught in Naruto's Devil Bringer. Naruto's human hand lashed out only for Sasuke to block the punch and grab Naruto's wrist. Wish! Their heads collided in a desperate finishing move. Their blood mingled and dripped to the ground. Both gritted their teeth in pain, trying to fight off the darkness in the edges of their vision. After a few seconds, Kakashi decided to intervene. "That's enough, we'll call it a draw." When neither boy responded, he walked over to take a closer look. What he saw shocked him. Even when they're both unconscious, they refused to lose to the other. They kneeled in front of each other, the muscles in their arms still trembling, straining to overcome the other. Lifeless blue eyes clashed with equally lifeless black. Kakashi squeezed a pressure point in their shoulders, causing them to both fall to the side. Two geniuses in their own way and with so much power and potential. They're so alike and yet so different at the same time. It is amazing how well they balance each other out. He made two shadow clones. They each grabbed a student and a Chunin exam paper, then jumped off to return them home, leaving Kakashi to his thoughts. Naruto's bloodline of the body and Sasuke's of the mind, constantly challenging each other to become stronger. Even their natures feed off of each other, the water charged with electricity, and the fire fed by wind. Kakashi let out a heavy sigh. "Well, at least my hair is already silver, it'll save me some trouble in the long run." Devils don't cry. Ninja and civilian alike busily walked through the crowded market district of Konoha. Honest merchants and crooked scoundrels advertised their goods. No matter what your profession, you could find what you needed here, whether it be weapons, tools, clothing, food, or even trinkets for the tourists. We find a blonde-haired woman walking with a blue-haired woman towards a ramen stand. The two were both beautiful specimens of the fairer sex. Men who stole glances at them could not work up the nerve to do more than look. The aura that rolled off the two women scared any man who happened to get too close to them. "Why are we here again?" the blue-haired girl asked as they walked in the booth. "I have decided to surprise Master with 2 bowls of ramen since he is going to participate in the Chunin exams. He should be nearly recovered from his training by the time we get back." The blonde spoke. "I don't know how Devil Boy can eat so much of this stuff. If you didn't limit him, he would probably eat it every day." "Oh, you seem concerned for Master. Has seeing him so beat up from training brought this out? Or maybe it was his recent marking of you." "Hey, he surprised me all right," Lady said, annoyed. Trish smiled and thanked I.M. and her father for the ramen before walking out with Lady following. "If I remember correctly, after he limped into the house with that Kage Bunshin, you walked over to him and offered to help. Instead of him accepting, he kissed you. You didn't put up much of a fight when he marked you either. In fact, you seemed to rather enjoy it. Then he passed out in your arms." Lady's face was burning crimson, contrasting with her dark blue hair. Her embarrassment vanished as she sensed something strange. "Do you feel that?" Trish nodded while scanning the crowd for the source of the familiar aura. "So I finally get to see her?" She soon caught sight of a brown-haired girl with fawn-like marks on her cheeks. As if feeling her gaze, Hannah looked up from her to-do list. Her eyes locked on Trish's as the world around them disappeared. Only Trish, Lady, and Hannah remained as everything around them faded away. Hannah found herself unable to move as she was analyzed. Her body just wouldn't respond. "I approve," Hannah heard a voice whisper. Hannah felt her limbs respond as reality returned. The blonde woman was calmly walking away as if nothing had happened. Her hand went up to touch the mark, showing she belonged to Naruto. "He already has a mate, and she approves of me?" She dismissed the strange encounter. She would think over it later. For now, she needed to finish getting supplies. When Trish walked away, Lady rushed to catch up. "What happened and who was that? She, like us, is marked by Master." "I merely approved of her, although she will still have to prove herself." "Oh, do you approve of me? I have seen how you make Master happy. I accepted you a few days after you started living with us. All that was needed was for him to mark you." "Okay." A strange thought ran through Lady's head. "What would have happened if you wouldn't have accepted us? If you posed a threat to Master, I would have killed you like any other enemy. It's as simple as that." The brilliant gold aura of her devil trigger flared for emphasis. Lady had no doubt Trish would be a dangerous opponent. The training the two had been doing together gave Lady a taste of Trish's mastery over lightning as well as her advanced taijutsu. The only one that could possibly control her was Naruto himself. "Devils don't cry. Why are we doing this again, Temari?" Kankuro asked nervously. Temari sighed. "I told you I'm worried about her. She's been so quiet lately. She hasn't even shown any bloodlust," she said to her brother. "You say that like it's a bad thing." Kankuro almost whimpered. Temari fought the urge to strangle her brother. Stealing her nerve, she turned to door and knocked, expecting an angry reply. Instead, she received none. "See, she's not even. And why you? Damn it, I just had to say something. Don't get Kankuro wrong. He really did care for Gaara and especially NYU. It's just that the sand that could crush you effortlessly scared him, and he liked living. Yeah, living is nice. Temari opened the door enough for both of them to see NYU sitting on the bed hugging her knees close. Before Kankuro could run, Temari pulled him in with her. They carefully approached not to scare her. Temari sat next to her. NYU, is Gaara resting? The redhead gave a slight twitch of a nod. 3 presences shared one body. The one-tailed demon Shikaku, Gaara, and NYU. NYU seemed to represent all of the kindness and innocence of a child, but it was hidden by her shy nature. Gaara represented all the hatred and anger from the challenges of being the container of Shikaku. And Shikaku was just a demon of immense bloodlust and absolutely no mercy. It was often required for Gaara or NYU to go dormant or sleep while the other maintained the body. That way Shikaku was kept at bay as it could not break free unless the body and mind were both asleep. The body still went into a stasis akin to sleep, which allowed little to no movement for the persona in control. If one had to describe it, it would be similar to sleeping with your eyes open. The awareness was there, just not the function. It kept the body from giving out from lack of sleep at random. It also gave everyone in Suna a sense of security, knowing that the demon could not be released by accident. NYU squeezed her eyes shut and suddenly went limp. Kankuro took a cautious step back and Temari tensed. When the girl reopened her eyes, the innocence was gone. In its place was hatred and anger. Gaara? Temari asked carefully. What do you want? Gaara didn't move, but she kept them in sight. We were just wondering if anything was bothering you lately. Temari glanced to Kankuro for help, but he pointed to the sand on the floor that hadn't been there when they entered. Any sudden movements could be lead to their deaths. Uzumaki Naruto, Gaara murmured. That silver-haired genin we met? I'm so gonna kill him. Gaara's hand lashed out, and Kankuro was instantly covered in sand. He was thrown against the wall so hard the apartment seemed to shake from the force. Another wave of sand slammed into him, pinning him to the wall. Only I will kill him. Gaara's demonic voice shouted as the sand began to crush the life out of her brother. Gaara, stop it, he didn't know. Temari was also covered in sand that prevented her from moving to help. I'm sorry, Gaara. Kankuro managed to rasp out. Just when it seemed as if she was going to kill him, all the sand fell to the floor, dropping Kankuro with it. Temari rushed to Kankuro, huddled in the corner, feeling helpless without his puppet. Gaara got up from the bed and walked towards the window. Where are you going? Temari asked from her spot over her brother. To kill him, was her short reply. Please, Gaara, just wait for the Chunin exams. You don't know what he's capable of. You saw how easily he could have killed Kankuro. I am not Kankuro, she said, jumping out the window. We have to follow her. She could get killed. Worry was evident in her voice. I doubt it, but let me grab Karasu. Devils don't cry. Curious, the elegant feminine voice said. Huh? Naruto awoke to a hand gently caressing his face while the other played in his silver hair. I said, curious? You've turned out so curious under my influence. Naruto opened his eyes to a beautiful woman with his head in her lap. They were in the middle of the sewer on a patch of blood-red grass surrounded by roses. Smooth, pale skin with gentle features. Her long blood-red hair pulled around her. The only thing keeping her modest was the 9 tails and her hair covering her delicate but full curves in an exotic way. Her crimson slitted eyes stared into his blue. A necklace with the kanji for seal on it hung right above her bosom. As soon as he realized who it was, he jumped away, landing on water without even causing a ripple. His hand flew to his side to find Yamato, which had not been there before. Kyubi, what do you mean influence? The woman's crimson-hued lips quirked into a smile. You do not know, descendant of Sparta? How do you think the legacy in your blood became so strong? It is because of me that your power grows as it does. But something like that. I am the Kyubi, a demon lord powerful enough to battle the Dark Knight Sparta and come out alive. It was a simple matter to feed the legacy in your blood to become strong enough to balance with the human blood. The results so far are rather interesting and, I must say, satisfactory. She eyed him like a piece of meat. But why help me? What's the point? Why shouldn't I? After all, I picked you to be my vassal. You picked me? You were sealed in me because you attacked Konoha. Naruto's mind was working in overdrive. None of her answers made any sense. Why, of course. How else would I have gotten your foolish father to seal me into my chosen pawn? My father was the 4th, the old man said, that you were an orphan. Your dear mother, Kushina, having died during childbirth, and your father, the legendary 4th, being unknown. Why should I believe you? How would you know? She stood gracefully on the mound of blood grass. She started walking toward him, grass appearing where she stepped as if rolling out a carpet. I know everything about you, Naruto. Your desire to protect what you love, your will to become stronger, even your fear of losing what you have gained, like what happened to Kairi. Yamato stopped inches away from her neck. A slight line of blood made its way down her flawless pale skin, but there was no cut as it had healed almost instantly. Shut up. Tell me why I shouldn't kill you. Unfazed, she pushed Yamato away to bend down to look in his eyes and give him a wonderful view of cleavage. She caressed the side of his face and leaned close to his ear. Because I could help you, she whispered huskily into his ear. I could make you a full-blooded devil, stronger than the legendary Dark Knight Sparta himself. All you have to do is devote yourself to me as I will to you. She gave him a gentle kiss, then quickly became more passionate and hungry. Naruto's eyes glowed red like hers as he pulled her closer, his instinct telling him to mark her as his. She moaned into the kiss as his hands caressed her body, and their tongues battled. She pulled away, licking her lips, enjoying his taste. Well? She asked. No. Naruto said, his eyes losing their red glow. She surprised him by laughing, walking away with a sway in her hips and taking a seat on the blood grass. Good. I was afraid for a moment you were weak. We'll meet again soon, my vassal, but for now you must show the container of Shikaku her place. I will not lose to Shikaku, and he is arrogant and stupid for challenging me. Just whose side are you on? I am on no one's side but my own, Naruto-kun. You are merely one of the many pieces in this game. Do not disappoint me, my vassal. Naruto shot awake from his slumber, nearly jumping out of his bed. She thinks this is a game? Not even stopping to get his cloak, he grabbed Yamato and froze as another thought hit him. The fourth is my father? Why didn't anyone tell me? He leaned against the wall to steady himself. Why me? No, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I can't blame them for not being here for me. But that doesn't mean I can't be angry at them for not telling me. Sorrow and confusion were quickly replaced by anger. He nearly ran into Trish and Lady while walking out. I have ramen for you, young master, Trish said cheerfully. Her happy mood disappeared when she saw the red seeping in Naruto's eyes. It can wait, the boy said, walking out. Trish put away the ramen and hurriedly followed. Lady ran next to her with confusion in her eyes. What's going on? Must be important to ignore ramen. Someone challenges master, was Trish's short reply. Devils don't cry. Temari and Kankuro stumbled upon Gaara standing calmly in the middle of an empty training ground. They didn't have to wait long before Naruto appeared in front of her along with Trish and Lady. He stood there with his coat missing, Devil Bringer bare, and Yamato at his waist. Make sure they don't interfere, he said over his shoulder to the two women. They nodded and jumped away. Neither Naruto nor Gaara moved or said anything. The time for talk was over. This was a battle of dominance. A single leaf fluttered to the ground between the two of them. As soon as the leaf touched the ground, Naruto's ethereal Devil Bringer shot out, closing the distance between them in moments, but was blocked and knocked off course by a wall of sand. Naruto jumped high to avoid the stream of sand that nearly engulfed him. A blue shockwave erupted from his sword, crashing against the sand that protected Gaara. More streams of sand shot out at the airborne Naruto. He blurred out, disappearing completely. Temari and Kankuro moved to help but were blocked by Trish and Lady. This is not your battle, Lady said, red lightning already crackling around her. Temari reached for her fan, distracting the two women long enough for Kankuro to switch himself with his puppet. They tensed to attack but was stopped by Lady. Don't even try it. We saw Puppet Boy switch himself. Move another inch and Trish will fry you. And my spear isn't just for show. The two siblings were helpless to do anything but watch. He's fast. Gaara looked around frantically, trying to spot him. As soon as the boy would appear, he'd only disappear again. Left? Right? Above? The sand stopped the blade a hair's width from stabbing her between the eyes. I'm right in front of you. Like it? I call it air trick. Think of it as a more offensive-oriented kawarimi. He blurred again and began to circle the redhead, after images appearing all around her. It seemed like 20 of him were circling her all at once. Another crescent arc of blue energy came from her left. The sand moved to block it. Naruto attacked from the opposite side, trying to take her head off. His blade was stopped once more by sand. He strained to break through, but more sand pushed him back. He blurred out before the sand could capture him. Naruto, however, was quickly tiring. His body was struggling to respond to his commands. His attacks were becoming sluggish and forced. He had to finish this. He's everywhere, Gaara thought frantically. The sand was struggling to keep up with him. If she didn't do something, he was going to break her defense. Stream after stream of sand shot out at Naruto, chasing him around the field. Each one was dodged, but she managed to force him into the air. Got you! she cried out triumphantly. The sand had missed but swirled around him to trap him in a cage. All the sand converged on him, and he couldn't escape without getting caught. The sand closed in and wrapped around his body. The boy struggled to break free, but it was too late. The sand covered him completely, turning him into a cocoon in the air. Sabaka-Q! The girl shouted. Damn it, I'm too weak from training. I won't lose. Demonic energy seeped into Gaara, making her eyes become like Shikaku's. Sabaka Soso, Ifrit. Before the cocoon of sand could implode, it exploded outward, sending flames, smoke, sand, and shards of glass out everywhere. A figure fell to the ground, hidden by a smoke screen. That's impossible, no one has ever escaped. Gaara looked down in fear at the monster that revealed itself. Monstrous hooves stepped out of the smoke, carrying a dark blue-skinned beast in burnt shorts with it. Its skin resembled a full-body version of the Devil Bringer. The creature was at least 7 feet tall, with blue flames burning on its body. Every inch of it was built with muscle, with long spiky silver hair that fell to the middle of its back. Hooves replaced feet. Hands now had vicious-looking claws on them. 2 long horns jutted from the side of its head over pointed ears, and long, sharp teeth filled its mouth. And, Cookie to who can tell me which game series I got this from? Double chocolate chip if you specify which game. What is that thing? What happened to the kid? Kankuro asked in terror. That thing was scarier than Gaara. All 3 of them turned to Trish. That is Master's Ifrit form, Trish said, her eyes not leaving the battle. That thing looks like a demon. I've never seen a jutsu like that, Tamari shouted. Lady turned back to watch the flaming beast regain its bearings. Not a demon, a devil. The beast snorted out a large cloud of smoke. It took a deep breath, and when it breathed again, instead of smoke, small bursts of flame jumped from its nostrils. Looking up into the sky, it let out a guttural roar with flames shooting from its mouth. Gaara watched in awed terror. What is he? The creature's burning red eyes locked on to Gaara. The beast started a slow stomp toward the girl that soon became a full-out rush. It roared as the flames on its body along with the speed of its charge increased. The darkened whisker marks made the creature even more menacing. Gaara let out a terrified scream and focused all her sand into forming a dome around her. This was the first time she felt fear this great. The creature even terrified Mother. The flaming creature slammed into the orb of sand, but it didn't slow down, continuing to push the sand barrier into a tree that splintered from the impact. When the orb hit the tree, a clawed hand covered in flames reared back and pierced through the orb, and a muffled scream was heard. The sand lost its form and trickled to the ground, leaving Gaara suspended by the clawed hand around her neck, otherwise unharmed. Gaara squeezed her eyes shut, waiting for her death. The creature flexed its claws, preparing to kill her, but stopped when tears started to fall from the girl's eyes. What am I doing? Naruto's thoughts began to surface. Aren't you going to kill her? She challenged you and lost. Her life is now yours. Kyuubi's calm voice went through his head. But why? I don't want to kill. Thoughts of Haku flashed through Naruto's mind as he fought to control his body. Why fight it? Kill her. Her voice prodded. No, Ifrit, listen to me. I am in control. Kill her. No. Ifrit, listen. To me. Kill her. Kyuubi screamed. No. Naruto's demonic form dropped Gaara and backed away. It let out a monstrous roar as it was engulfed in flames. The roar faded to a howl that became more human. The flames died down, revealing Naruto's human form. I'm in control. A now human Naruto walked up to the fearful girl, looking at her with gentle blue eyes. His thumb brushed away a tear. Strangely, the sand did block the contact. His lips then met hers. Still in shock from the kiss, she didn't realize when he pulled away. A sharp pain came from her neck. Both of them felt the pull on their minds. Naruto was now in a vast desert. Wind howled as sand buffed him. A distant rumble was followed by a scream of rage. Not here, anywhere but here. I'm sorry, Mother, don't hurt us. NYU. He looked behind him to see 2 identical girls hugging each other. Both cried in each other's arms. He turned back when he heard another scream of outrage, closer this time. A giant tanuki rose from the sand in front of them. Gaara's and NYU's cries became louder. Shikaku roared once more. I won't lose to you. I won't. The creature lifted its arms and slammed them down. Naruto brought up his Devil Bringer to block the blow. 9 tails came from behind him to stop the attack. The clawed arms slammed into the tails, straining to overpower them. It was useless. The tails flexed and the tanuki was thrown back effortlessly. You are such a sore loser, Shikaku. The Kyuubi walked out from behind Naruto in all her glory. You cheated, Kyuubi. Shikaku's stomach expanded before firing a concentrated blast of wind and chakra. I won fairly. You are merely too stupid to accept that. QB inspected her nails while using a delicate hand to bat away the blast lazily. Ha. Wind exploded from the tanuki's mouth in a blast larger than the last. I grow weary of your immaturity. Her eyes flashed red and the wind reversed itself. It shot back at Shikaku, swirling around him and kicking up sand. The sand kept spinning, reaching high above the demon. Once it reached the top, it hardened, trapping Shikaku inside. The kanji for seal then appeared on the tanuki's forehead. His screams of rage became distant before disappearing entirely, even though he was right there. That should keep him in check. You did well, Naruto-kun. Her red-hued lips met his. He quickly pulled away. Why are you toying with our lives? I almost killed her because of you. She looked thoughtful, considering the answer to his question. But you didn't, did you, Naruto-kun? She said, caressing his cheek. What? Yes, you almost killed her, but you didn't. You were strong enough to stay in control. I am glad I chose you for this game. He slapped the hand away in anger and pointed to Gaara and NYU, who were still in a state of shock. Look at them. This isn't a game. They're like that because of that damn raccoon toying with their lives. QB looked at him like he was a rare animal. Why do you care? Why shouldn't I? Pain, death, terror, there is never a reason to cause it. Nothing justifies it. But you want power, don't you? You caused her terror and pain when you struggled to control Ifrit. And you are going to cause more pain, more terror, even death if you choose to continue on the path to power, whether intentional or not. Don't you want the power to crush the ones who oppose you? No. I want power to protect the ones I love. She looked at him for a long time before finally smiling. Good, your heart is, by far, your greatest source of power as you walk your path. She began to fade. He who fights monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And when you gaze long into the abyss gazes also into you. Remember my words, Naruto-kun. She faded completely and Naruto found himself back in the training ground. Before he could question QB's words, Gaara lunged at him and hugged him. To the shock of Temari and Kankuro, she began to cry in Naruto's arms. Tears of pain, sorrow, and most of all happiness. The voice was gone. Mother was quiet. Naruto merely sat down and held her as she wept into his neck. His Ifrit gauntlets glowed and were replaced by Yamato clattering to the ground next to him. Trish and Lady relaxed their stances and walked over to Naruto. He'll most likely be needing help getting home after devil triggering. Kankuro watched Gaara cry before turning to his sister. So any idea what happened? He asked. All I know is that guy is extremely dangerous to beat Gaara. It would be best if we stayed clear of him during the Chunin exams, and Kankuro caught the subtle message easy. When the invasion happened, fighting this guy was suicide. That and Gaara and NYU like him. Hopefully, for their sake, she won't have to fight him. Devils don't cry. A man busted into a room with 3 occupants. He has sealed her demon. I don't know how, but I'm sure of it. What are we going to do now? We need her for the invasion. The oldest man spoke up. Calm yourself. The invasion will still happen. She just may need a little motivation to release Shikaku. Cuckoo. After all, I need the Sharingan and the boy's devil blood. I won't let this little setback stop me. And his sword, Yamato, is our only hope with Force Edge gone. The older man spoke up. Yes, you will get your sword as long as I get the boy to experiment on. Maybe with the help of one of your followers to compare notes. The 4 men went over their final plans for the Chunin exams as Naruto went home to find those 2 bowls of ramen with his name on them. What do you mean the ramen is gone? Naruto, watch out. The silver-haired boy turned just in time to catch a small seed-like creature out of the air with his devil bringer. The creature struggled in his grip before he mercilessly crushed the life out of it. Fucking chimera seeds! Naruto shouted while cutting through another that jumped, trying to latch onto him. He caught a glimpse of a lizard-like creature out the corner of his eye. An assault. It was about half the size of a man with armored green skin, sharp talons and teeth, and a powerful tail. The creature jumped at a downed Sakura, attempting to tear her throat out. Sasuke was too busy fighting off his own assault to help her. Naruto used his new air trick move to appear in front of the girl with his devil bringer headed straight for the creature's face. The assault managed to raise the shield-like protrusion on its arm to take the punch, but the thick bone shield shattered under Naruto's demonic arm and it was knocked back. Naruto's ethereal devil bringer grabbed the lizard's tail and with monstrous strength slammed it into the ground relentlessly. More assaults were quickly emerging from the ground, jumping into the fray only to be beaten back by the half-devil using their brother as a club. Sakura came out from behind Naruto and slammed her gloved fists one of the assaults. Its head caved in and the neck snapped, sending it straight into another behind it. Sakura then jumped into the air, avoiding the broken assault thrown by Naruto. It crashed into its brothers, sending them all into a tree. Sasuke's fireball then made short work of them, leaving nothing but charred husks behind. Naruto used his human hand to point toward the dead creatures, 2 fingers sticking out from a closed fist with the thumb straight up. Bang! Yippee-ki-ya motherfuckers, what's that hand sign, Naruto? I've never seen it before. Sakura asked, desperately trying to shake off the brain juice on her glove. Naruto just shrugged. Don't know, just sorta felt right. Kinda a spur of the moment thing. Hey Sasuke, if you're done barbecuing, we should go. The smell alone is gonna attract attention. Sasuke finished his jutsu and nodded. The 3 took to the trees in a hurry in case any enemies were nearby. Naruto took time to recollect his thoughts. The exam had started easy enough, passing up a test to filter out the idiot genin that couldn't see past a simple illusion. Naruto did have to stop Sasuke from making a scene though. Just because Naruto may not use genjutsu sure didn't mean he couldn't. After all, he mastered the henge to where it was nearly real, and the Mikitsuki no Mai required a pretty decent grasp of genjutsu skills to fool the opponent. Naruto had fun pestering Sasuke about how he lost to that Lee kid. The Uchiha managed to hold his own against the green spandex wearing genin, but even with the Sharingan his defenses soon crumbled under the other genin's superior strength, speed, and experience. Lee had Team 7's respect though, even if he dressed a little odd. When they found the classroom, they met up with the rest of Rookie 9. For some reason Kiba wouldn't stop glaring at him. Naruto thought the mutt was going to attack him right then and there. When all the ninja wannabes started staring at them, Naruto unwrapped his devil bringer in front of them as if daring them to do something. The sight of his devil bringer scared most into looking away. Even the Rookie 9 were surprised at the demonic appearance of his glowing right arm. There was that Kabuto guy that showed up. Naruto knew there was something off about that guy. Failed 7 times my ass. And how did he manage to get info on me anyway? While not detailed, his Nin info card still stated that his had a rare, supposedly extinct, bloodline along with advanced ninjutsu and swordsmanship skills. He could practically feel the questioning gazes of the Rookie 9 around him. I'm going to have to update his info on me later while I pound his face into the ground. Then the paper test where they couldn't get caught cheating. That Ibiki guy acted like he was intimidating or something. Maybe he was to some other genin. Naruto scoffed. I've seen scarier things in the academy's restrooms. Hinata, who sat right next to him during the test, was a bit worried when he didn't write down any answers. Naruto didn't know why he cared, but to put her at ease he did a henge and Kage Bunshin combo. They came out as flies with no smoke to give him away. He sent them to gather answers and his paper was done in no time. I still wonder why she blushes so much around me. It's not my arm, is it? He stopped that train of thought before it could go any further. After a bunch of kids wussed out of the dreaded finally question, they discovered there was no final question. And when Ibiki tried to congratulate them, the new productor, Anko, busted through the windows to introduce herself. She was hot and Naruto enjoyed breaking up the fear she tried to put in the other genin. Flashback. A decent amount of genin stood in front of the dark forest that loomed above them. They could hear the faint laughter and screams of demons inside. Dozens of glowing yellow eyes watched them from the shadows before disappearing back into the leaves. Listen up, maggots, this is the forest of death. It's full of wild animals, poisonous plants, and demons. It's also where you'll be taking the second exam, so try not to die. Anko shouted with an evil grin. Naruto snorted. Oh, the forest of death. I'm so scared. Look! Trees! All the genin around him had struggled to hide their snickers and giggles. Naruto, reacting on instinct, caught and crushed a kunai in his devil bringer. Everything went silent around him. Anko leaned into him from behind, wrapping her arms around his neck. Her large breasts pressed into his back, her nipples pressing through the fishnet shirt and form-fitting armor underneath her coat. The woman's tongue snaked out and gave him a long lick on the cheek before capturing his lips with her own. You got balls, kid, she said, pulling away. Another kunai lightly pressed near his crouch. Get cocky with me again and I might have to cut those balls off. The shock was evident on her face when she felt a pair of strong arms wrap around her waist and saw the Naruto in front of her go up in cloud of smoke. Anko had to bite back a moan as the boy's hands roamed her body. You're not too bad yourself, babe, but you shouldn't underestimate me, Naruto said, smirking. Anko walked out of his grasp and he gave her a light smack on the ass. A faint blush appeared on her cheeks. Not the slut you act like, huh? Everyone looked at him like he was crazy, the same thought going through their mind. Does he have a death wish? End flashback. Naruto's thoughts came to an abrupt halt when he realized something, or the lack of something. There were no sounds. It had gone eerily quiet. He couldn't hear any animals or demons. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end and he was instantly on high alert. Something flew by, nicking his cheek and drawing blood. "Move!" he shouted. He reached out, grabbing Sasuke and Sakura, and threw them to the side just as a fierce roaring wind blasted through the trees. Sasuke and Sakura fell to the ground and could do nothing but watch as Naruto was hit dead on by the brunt of the wind and disappeared into the forest. "Naruto, was that really necessary, Orochimaru?" the disguised man asked. "Relax, Credo. I had to separate them. I want to test the Uchiha, and if the half-breed makes it pasted my special summon, then I will test him too." Would you require assistance by any chance, Orochimaru-san? "No, Agnes. I will test them myself." Naruto crashed through branches and trees before finally skidding to a stop in the middle of a clearing. He got up and dusted himself off. Luckily, Yamato wasn't lost during his trip. "Damn it! My coat's totaled. Trish bought this for me too." Yes, Naruto had just been blown through multiple trees that would have killed a normal ninja, and he's angry that his coat is now in shreds. Taking what was now torn rags off and throwing them to the side, he cursed again. "That was my favorite coat. Whoever did that wind jutsu is dead." Looking up, he noticed a massive plant-like creature in the form of a snake. It flew lazily in the air, releasing seeds at him. "I'm really not in the mood for this." As the seeds drew near, Naruto stood his ground calmly. When they finally reached him, he caught them out of the air and began juggling them. One by one, he dropped the seeds and kicked them back into the forest, except the last, which he casually spun on his finger. The snake-like creature stopped in the air and opened its mouth wide to reveal the flower woman inside. She watched with wide eyes as the strange scene happened before her. Meanwhile, all the seeds that had been rebounding off of seemingly random trees converged, ricocheting off each other, then to a nearby tree, headed straight for the plant woman. All of them flew into her face one after another. Recovering from her daze, she said the first thing that came to her mind. "Who the hell are Dash?" Naruto tossed the last seed in the air, and using a sheathed Yamato, batted it into her unprepared face, interrupting her rant. He winced slightly at the crunch sound that echoed through the clearing. "And it's a grand slam. The crowd goes wild." Naruto bowed mockingly to the plant woman. Thank you. I'll be here till I manage to get another scroll. Don't forget to tip your waitress." "Who do you think you are? You dare make a mockery of me? I am Echidna the She-Viper and new queen of this forest." "Oh yeah? Well, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, resident demon killer and badass. I do believe I outrank you. In fact, I own you and this forest." "Uzumaki Naruto, the descendant of Sparta?" She sniffed the air, catching Naruto's scent. "That scent is the same. You have the same blood running through your veins as the one called Dante, my imprisoner." "Yes, so I've heard. Same blood as Sparta, Dante, and some guy named Virgil. Geez, what do I have to do to get a rep of my own? I kick demon ass too." "Your blood would make a powerful seed," the plant woman said with a calculating look in her eyes. "If she were to absorb his power, she could break the bonds Dante used to bind her to the snake contract." "Look, if you're asking for a date, then I'm gonna have to turn you down." Ignoring her eye twitching in annoyance, he continued, "I'm sure you'd make some plant guy really happy." Far away, a certain member of Akatsuki sneezed rather violently. "But you're not really my type." "I got nothing against the petal look, it suits you, and I like boobs as much as next guy." "Well, the next guy besides Sasuke. I mean, with all those girls chasing after him, you think he would have revived his clan by now." "Your jesting is becoming increasingly annoying, half-breed," the woman hissed out. Naruto was still ignoring the growing tick marks on her forehead. "It's not you, it's me. On second though, it is you. But I like my woman with a lower half. You know, toned legs and a nice ass. By the way, while we're on this subject, just how the hell would you please a guy?" "Oh wait, never mind, that big mouth of yours is probably good for something." "Enough. I will devour you, you insolent little half-breed." The petals closed around her as she shifted to her snake form, flying at Naruto, mouth open, fully intent on eating him. Naruto stood there with a foxy grin on his face. "Sorry, I told you I'm not interested." Ifrit. Yamato was absorbed into his devil bringer to be replaced by his Ifrit gauntlets. As Echidna attacked, Naruto jumped to the side while grabbing onto her scaly hide with his devil bringer. In an attempt to knock him off, she took a winding path through the dense forest, swerving to avoid trees and snapping any branches that got in her way. Naruto stood on the end of her tail, dodging the branches that threatened to knock him off with ease. He broke into a run along her tail, jumping, ducking, and weaving out of harm's way. "Echidna, feeling his advance, shot straight up into the air. Still feeling his advance, as she climbed further upward, she whipped her tail viciously. Even though utilizing the tree climbing exercise, Naruto was still thrown off and barely avoided getting skewered by the spiked spines on the end of her tail. Shit! I'm kinda high up. Naruto moved to use Kage Bunshin, but nothing happened. Fuck. I forgot I can't use jutsu with Ifrit active. Naruto had found out that while Ifrit increased his physical power and speed to new levels, it still had weaknesses and flaws. Unlike Yamato, which allowed him to use jutsu while active, Ifrit only allowed for fire-enhanced taijutsu and nothing else. Ifrit also took away all the moves he created with Yamato. It changed Naruto's style of fighting drastically. This better work. Naruto charged his Devil Bringer with chakra. The larger ethereal version of his Devil Bringer came to life, taking the form of a massive clawed hand with Ifrit's burning blue flames. As the ground rushed up to meet him, the half-devil reared his arm back and with a shout punched the ground beneath him. The ground underneath cracked, stopping his descent. Naruto landed on his feet in the burning crater. He looked up to see the she-viper circling above him lazily. The snake's head once again opened wide to reveal the woman inside. Ha! Your pathetic gloves do you no good. A massive fireball flew at her. It missed, but the fire passed so close it singed the side of her face. Naruto stood in the crater with his still smoking arm pointed toward her. What? How did I miss that big mouth of yours? It's such a huge target. Echidna had finally had enough. Letting out a shriek of rage, her whole body began to glow brightly. She began circling above Naruto, not even bothering to change into her serpentine form. Come to me, my children! She released hundreds of seeds while assaults and scarecrows came out of the forestry around them. The seeds hatched and jumped onto the nearest creature. The chimera seeds' roots wrapped around the demons and dug past skin. The seeds sprouted flowers, showing they became one with their hosts. Phew, Naruto said, looking around. All of the now chimera-enhanced assaults and scarecrows circled Naruto, covering every inch of the ground. Their eyes all focused on him, waiting. One of the more restless assaults lunged. Naruto dodged and stomped on the assault's tail. As it screeched in pain, his ethereal Devil Bringer hand wrapped around its neck and tore it from the body. His other hand shot out a ball of blue flames, burning a group to his left to a crisp. Who's next? He asked, throwing the head, with spines still attached, to the side and the fresh corpse under his boots still bleeding. The creatures backed down for a moment before realizing their vast numbers and dove at Naruto. Ifrit lashed out furiously, leaving flames in its wake. One gauntlet speared into a scarecrow's chest and shot out of its back. The other slammed down on an assault's head, flattening it into the ground. Spinning to dislodge the scarecrow, Naruto used the momentum to deliver a flaming haymaker that crashing into a multiple demons. An assault jumped on his back, driving its talons deep and biting into his shoulder. He grabbed the creature's tail with his ethereal Devil Bringer and tore in from his back, the deep cuts healing as soon as it was removed. He smashed the assault into the demons around him, crushing the advancing demons to keep from being overwhelmed. The blood pounded in his ears and his heart raced as he fought. Vines covered with thorns tore the skin from his body wherever they hit. Massive scythes would nick him while teeth and claw dug into him. Naruto movements were slowing and it was taking more hits to kill the demons around him. His healing factor was slowly giving out on him, leaving cuts that leaked blood. The demons, sensing the kill was near, went into a frenzy. They trampled and killed their own, trying to get to the silver-haired demon hunter. Echidna watched as wave after wave attacked the descendant of Sparta. He must have killed hundreds, and yet he didn't even dent their numbers. For every one he killed, 4 or 5 would come out of the forest around them. Creatures were being thrown back in dozens by his fists, or the flames that followed them, only to be trampled and killed by the other demons out for a kill. She let out a sickening smile as the horde finally covered him, the flames dying out under the dome of demon numbers. Sasuke emptied his stomach on the ground. To his side, Sakura was doing no better. She had been reduced to a trembling mess with tears streaming from her unfocused eyes. How disappointing, I expected more. The mystery woman said. Her killing intent is unreal. There's no way she is genin level. Sasuke saw her reach for kunai in slow motion. Come on, move! His legs didn't respond. Move! In his panic state, he could faintly remember Kakashi's teachings. Killing intent can be thrown off in a variety of ways. There is experience, willpower, anger, even pain. 2 kunai flew from the woman's hand, aimed for their heads. That's it! His Sharingan flared and managed to grab a kunai from his pouch with his shaky hands. The woman's kunai pierced a tree, the targets vanishing into the trees. Maybe this won't be so boring after all. The disguised Orochimaru chuckled to himself. Sasuke pulled the kunai from his leg and quickly wrapped the cut with spare bandages. He then focused on Sakura's still trembling form and next to him. He gave her a few light pats on the cheek. Sakura! Sakura, snap out of it! Her eyes widened and then focused on him. He covered her mouth with his hand and put his finger over his lips with the other. She nodded her understanding and he released her. They both took deep breaths to calm their racing hearts. Do you hear that? Sakura asked Sasuke quietly. Sasuke's eyes widened. He grabbed Sakura and jumped off the branch just in time to avoid the massive snake that snapped its mouth shut where they had been. As soon as they landed, Sasuke let Sakura go and flew through hand seals. Gakakyu no Jutsu. The snake screeched as the fireball engulfed it. It writhed in pain trying to put out the fire, but it was useless. It let out a final hiss before it fell and went limp, its body still smoking. Both genin let out a sigh of relief as the creature died. We need to regroup with Naruto. We'll need his help to fight off that woman. She can't be a genin, Sasuke said. The two turned to walk away but froze when they heard the cracking of skin. The voice that followed sent a shiver down their spines. TSK, TSK, TSK. Prey should never let down their guard. And your teammate should joining us shortly, that is, if he is still alive. Sasuke and Sakura turned around to see the mystery woman rise out of the snake's charred carcass. Sasuke took a deep, calming breath and got into a loose stance while Sakura slowly followed suit. The woman looked shocked. Aren't you going to run? You'd only catch us. Sasuke answered calmly. She laughed. So the prey has been backed into a corner and decided to make their last stand. Who said it's our last stand? We're just going to show you we're not worth the trouble, Sakura said. Sakura, follow my lead. Sasuke's Sharingan flared to life, two tomo in each eye spinning wildly, as he charged with Sakura following. The only sound that greeted Echidna was the excited chatter of her children as they fought one another for a bite. She turned away, letting the glow of her devil trigger recede. Bum bum, she turned back, fear dominating her features. Impossible, he can't be that powerful. The dome of demons that covered Naruto exploded in blue flames. The closest demons were incinerated instantly. The unlucky ones were squirming on the ground with bubbling blisters all over their bodies. The devil that was Naruto's Ifrit form stood in the crater of fire. Controlled Naruto's Ifrit devil trigger looked stronger than the last time it was used. It looked larger and with more powerful blue flames covering his body. The fire devil beat his chest, sending flames out around him. Naruto roared to the heavens and unleashed a torrent of flames from his mouth. The demons around backed away from the devil's intense heat in fear. With a scream, Echidna's devil trigger glow came back. She shifted to her serpentine form and charged the fire devil. Naruto met Echidna's charge head-on. Her serpentine head aimed to chomp down on him, but the fire demon twisted out the way, giving a powerful punch that broke the plant devil's jaw. Echidna recovered quickly and wrapped her tail around Naruto while she snapped her jaw back into place to heal. Naruto struggled while the viper tried to squeeze the life out of him. Fire consumed his being as he broke free. Echidna screeched in pain, lashing at Naruto with her burning tail. He caught the tail, missing the barbs at the end by mere inches. The force behind the tail would have flattened a normal human, ninja or not, but Naruto's devil trigger form didn't even move from the impact. Naruto dug his hoofed feet into the ground and sank his clawed hands into Echidna's scaly hide. Using all his strength, the beast pulled hard and began to spin, using her to hit all the demons that had not yet retreated. He kept it up for a few rotations and let her go flying into a rather sturdy tree. Echidna's body sank to the ground and lost the glow of her devil trigger. I will have your blood. I will be released from my servitude. She forced her battered and burning body back up and shot toward him once more. Naruto dug his hooves into the ground and waited. She crashed into him with all her might. The fire devil's hooves sank into the ground as he was forced back, leaving deep trenches. He stood in place, holding her jaws open with his clawed hands. Naruto slammed her to the ground while snapping her jaws open to force her human-like form out. Echidna was done. All her power had been used up, calling out her minions and sustaining her devil trigger during battle. She felt two massive hands grab hold of her lithe arms. She looked up to Naruto's Ifrit form with half-lidded eyes. The last thing she saw was the blue fire building in the fire devil's mouth and his burning red eyes. Naruto blasted a concentrated stream of blue fire point blank in her face, taking her head off. The massive body went limp before going up in a cloud of smoke. Naruto let out a roar of victory while beating his chest. The devil's body burned down back to his human form. Naruto fell to his hands and knees, taking deep gulps of air. His devil bringer absorbed Ifrit, and Yamato clattered on the ground next to him. I own you, and this forest, bitch. Naruto, he said between breaths. Looking down, he groaned and sighed in annoyance. First my coat, now my pants. Someone is defiantly gonna pay. Naruto's black pants were now charred shorts. Dante? Just how powerful is he to seal burial and imprison Echidna? Wonder what else he did. Naruto sighed and got up. Whatever, he needs to clean up after himself. I'm tired of doing it for him. He caught a glimpse of something out the corner of his eye. No, it can't be. Mother? As soon as he saw her, she jumped off. Pain and exhaustion were forgotten as Naruto raced after her. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.